Hello, hello. This is not Addison Oliveira. This is DNN Dave, and I'm here with my good friend Don Gingold. Don,
Hey, DNN
welcome.
Dave, how are you? Good to see you.
Oh man, doing fantastic. I hope you and your family are well.
We are. And yours?
Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing well.
Good.
It's a crazy time we're in, but we're making do and having fun doing some live streaming. We're trying this out, man. It is raw, y'all. We're gonna we're coming to you live here today, and we've got some cool stuff. Don, tell us a little bit about you, your company, and what you're looking to do here.
Sure, happy to. I've been doing building websites for a long time. Sprocket is about 10 years old, Sprocket websites. Jim Nagy and I are business partners for the last 10 years now. And we're integrators. So what we do is we get modules from various people and put them on top of DNN and produce really cool looking websites. And we have, for the longest time, we've been using just the basic modules, news stuff and article stuff and forms and those kinds of things. And we have this cool project that actually is my wife's project that I'd like to build. And I know that I need something above and beyond the way that you make pages typically. And I need some way of putting a bunch of stuff into a database and then displaying it in all different ways. And I understand that Too Sexy, 2SCXC, is that it? 2SXC
Yeah,
is
that's
the
it.
name
Yeah.
of it. Too Sexy is a really cool tool for what's called structured content. And I tried using it and got rather confused. So I asked the DNN community, and Dave, you said, "Hey, let's put this out there for the world to help them, and we'll kind of walk through the project online and use it as an example for others." So that they too can learn how to use Too Sexy, because it is a really cool tool once you learn how to use it.
Exactly. And it's like everything. Once you know it. And it is easy, right? But I listen, you're not alone, man. I had the same experience when I first started looking at Too Sexy. I was like, man, everybody's talking about how cool this is and all the neat things that you can do with it and how much time it saves and how much control it gives you. But man, I looked at a few videos and read a few documents, and I'm like, I'm getting bits and pieces, but the dots are just not connecting. So, this is a great opportunity. We have
Yeah.
connected the dots on this and kind of got our bearings around it all. So it's my pleasure to try to help you out, and in doing that, we can help out some others in the community here. So, I mean, let's get into it. So, you've got a project. I think your wife is involved in that, and tell us a little bit
It's
about it.
her. She is an author. She's got 5 books. She's writing her 6th, and this next one. She's a big fan of Agatha Christie, so she thought it would be helpful. When you read an Agatha Christie book, it was written anywhere from the 20s to the 50s, and in the 20s, the early books, and in England in the 20s. They spoke differently. They have terms that you read and you kind of go right past it. You're not really sure what they mean. So she thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a glossary of terms that you could go and go like a companion, bedside
Oh
companion
yeah.
to Agatha Christie books. So you're reading it, you get to the term, you say, I'm not sure what it is, jump into Kate's book and find the term and what the definition is. And I said, well, if you're going to make a book, let's make a website of those terms.
Of
And
course.
then you can search through it easily. When you get a new term, you can add to it. You can't just reprint the book every week, but you can add a new term to the website every week. So, and of course, a dictionary or a glossary of terms is a database, right?
Yeah.
You've got a term, you got the definition, you got some reference where you found it in the book. So I figured let's get a tool that would store the terms the proper way, and then we could come up with all kinds of ways of displaying it on the website. That's the task, is to build a website of a glossary of terms that are her terms for Agatha Christie books.
That's great. I'm going to switch over to a different view here, and I think you have put together a bit of a mock-up for this, or at least
Yeah.
some way to visualize what you're hoping to do. So walk us through this.
Certainly. So this is just a brand new DNN installation. Shout out to DNN for Less, the hosting company for DNN. Uh, and if you go to the glossary by word, that page, that's the mock-up of what the database should do for me. So this view is just a list of the terms. So think from A to Z, just write down the list. So that's the first view that we want. And in this case, you have a term, you have where you found it. Maybe it was one book, maybe the term is done in several books. So you want all of them there. Then what's the definition of the term? And that could be not just a dictionary definition, but more like an encyclopedia entry where it could be a whole bunch of stuff, the history of it, why it was done in that book, all that. It's just a big hunk of text, paragraph after paragraph. And if that's the case, you don't want all of it right there because this is a list. So maybe you want to read more button after just a little bit of it. And then sometimes you might want a picture associated with the term. So that's what that first entry is. And then the next entry is a really, really simple entry. The word "soit" is the French word for "so be it." And Hercule Poirot, a big Agatha Christie sleuth, one of her main characters, says a bunch of French words. So all that we really need is to define it, because Agatha Christie doesn't define the words as he speaks them in the text. So here's the definition of it. It's just really easy. And then the third one.
Amen, brother.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have to call amen. I mean, that means so be it too, right? I mean, hey, I know a little bit.
Right.
Okay,
right, exactly.
come on.
So the third one is another case where maybe she writes a whole bunch about one term, but then instead of repeating it all, just go back to that one term. And so you may have a reference. Now, it would be really cool if that reference was a link off to the word. So if the words are right next to each other, glossary 1, glossary 2, that's easy. But if it's, alpha to zeta, then it'd be nice to jump to it rather than have to scroll and search for it. So those are the kinds of ways that you would display it in one case. Then the next case would be maybe it's a really long definition like the first entry here. So that would be the detail view of the first entry where it's just one entry on the page with a big picture and all of the text all together laid out however. And then the third view would be maybe just if you're reading a particular book, to just see the terms in that one book. So filter it by book. And then the last way would be if you put a bunch of pictures up of all the pictures that are in all the definitions, because people like to look at pictures, and you just click on a picture that it looks interesting and you get the full definition. You go to the detail. So I'm envisioning several different views for the data, but I don't want to recreate the data on every one of those pages, and that's why I want to use some kind of a context, structured content to store all the data.
Well, it seems like an ideal use case for it. But man, my head's spinning. You got some cool things here that you want to do, that makes it not so simple. I mean, it seems like we're doing something simple. It's just a list of terms and some information that goes along with it, right? But no, I mean, there's some relational data kind of thing. I mean, I know you're a database guy, so you're probably already thinking of the structure of what a normal database would look like, or tables in a database. So, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, man, this is going to be kind of cool because we've got, conditional showing and hiding of certain pieces of information. We've got potentially relational information, relating a glossary to a book and vice versa. We've got terms that could be related to other terms. This is going to be fun. So
good.
I mean,
Thank you so much for helping me get through this and get going with Too Sexy so that we can build this. And I hope that it helps a bunch of other people when they watch your video.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think this is good for this first part. We really want to kind of explain what we're going to do here. We're going to come back and we're going to unpack some of these requirements. and take it piece by piece, and build it up from the bottom up, and you'll be familiar with some of the kind of thought process of the way to do it, but we'll be introducing you to how you do that from a Too Sexy perspective on that. So thanks for joining us. Come back and see the next part 2 of the case of the missing glossary. Don, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
We'll see ya.